Chris from Chris Hannon Creative, sitting in traffic, doing some recording because this is when I have time to do it. And heading to work. And I just put out an article that's getting a little bit of traction around the social media strategy for designers. I think a lot of people who are probably younger than me, this probably seems maybe a little obvious about how you need to use social media to be extending your personal brand as a designer. And so I've spent the last probably 8 months trying to figure this out. I'm 42 years old. I've worked the same job for a great company for 15 years. And when I started that job, the way you represented yourself as a designer was by having a portfolio. And you still need that aspect of it, but what I've come to realize as I started to get online recently over the past 6-8 months was the value of using social media to extend and showcase my skill set. As a creative director, a lot of the work I do is now soft skills, and those are things that are kind of hard to put into a portfolio. They're not super visual, but they are a huge part of the job and the value that I bring to the table. So I found myself writing articles on like how to lead a design workshop, that sort of thing. Stuff that isn't necessarily super visual, but a critical soft skill or skill set to my job. And I started realizing that no matter where you're at in your design career, you need to be documenting those sorts of skills across different types of social media. So if it's a how-to that's like writing a blog post on how to lead a design workshop, that's something that could live on Medium. But if you're showing like how to do some other type of skill that's more of a hard skill, not so much a people soft skill, like here's how you use Illustrator to do line art, right? That's more of a tutorial that goes on YouTube. So you've kind of got your portfolio, which is I think work you've done, and then you've got written social media, like anything from Twitter to Medium to your own blog. That's the tell. And then I think like YouTube, Instagram, and Pinterest is like the show. So those are tell, show, do are the basic categories where you're splitting up your design work to live as native content on those platforms. And the reason you want to do that is, on the one hand, you can showcase your skills and your talent. Another thing is that people can learn from you. Like other designers who are on their way up want to, get information and knowledge any way they can. And so I think being a resource for that is super valuable and helpful. And it just gives you the opportunity to, document where you're at, because it's so hard to like dust off your portfolio once a year and like make that happen. Like that doesn't work very well, even if you remember to do it. And if you've been in a job for a really long time, like I have, like if you're a middle-aged designer and you've been working the same gig for a super long time, who knows the last time you like dusted off your portfolio. If you're a responsible designer who did that, good for you. I wasn't that person. I've really loved the company I've worked at, and it just kind of fell to the wayside. I was doing other stuff in life. So I think the piece I would want to talk about here is really, if you're not engaging with social media in this way, and I didn't previous to this sort of experiment I started trying, I didn't really get on Facebook. I didn't really get on Instagram in any sort of capacity of consumption. So I wasn't super interested in it, but realizing like, a portfolio is not enough. I really need to be in these other areas and documenting and raising up my digital presence. And so if you're like me and you're a middle-aged designer and you're just getting into this game, it's not going to be comfortable. You have to document, not design. And that feels a little weird because you've spent so much of your career like carefully crafting what you put out there. This is not going to be that. This is going to be you recording in a car to some degree. But if you're just getting started, start playing with all those different mediums and try to figure out what kind of value you want to create for those native formats. So I already gave a couple examples. It's like, blog posts for soft skills and the like, hard skills for things that you can visualize on YouTube or Instagram. So start playing around with it and start expanding your reach to an audience that wants to find you. Because ultimately, visibility and personal brand are going to be super important to the rest of your career moving forward, and having that presence. And you can't just do it all at once with a good book. Like, it takes months to figure out kind of how you want to do it, and then it takes even longer to just keep doing it. It's like an extra job. You got to chip away at it. So you don't want to say, oh, I'm going to knock it out in a weekend. So anyway, that's my advice. There's an article I've got that kind of gives a strategy. I'll put the link below. You get the idea. And so get started. Have a good day.